Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com deep dive presented by Dottie's Family Market in Dover, PA. Joining us on the show this week is Knoxville Raceway track prep ace, Chris Duncan. Before we get to Chris, Dottie's Family Market in Dover, PA is your one-stop shop on the way to the races. They have fresh-made sandwiches and subs with all the fixins, perfect for a night at the racetrack. Dottie's has everything you need in one location, including a full-service deli, wide selection of groceries, and gas. If you're looking to sit down, head over to the Hive Coffee House and Cafe for a great sandwich. There's also a seasonal greenhouse on site, and coming soon, Dottie's Crab House, where you can dine in for fresh seafood and all-you-can-eat Maryland crabs. Head over to the corner of Canal and Bull Road in Dover, PA. Dottie's Family Market has you covered. Now here's Chris Duncan. Chris, welcome to the deep dive. I appreciate you taking time out of what's going to be a busy couple weeks to join us on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me to come on. You're right. Actually, when I get done with this, I'm heading up to the track. We've got a pretty good show this weekend on Saturday night, but the track's rented out tomorrow night, Friday. So I'm heading there when we get done here, and I'll be there until come home and sleep, obviously, but I'll be there till Sunday morning.
You sure do. Like during the Nationals, you put a cot somewhere in the museum and maybe walk out.
All joking aside, I do have one in my shop. It's don't hardly ever use it, but I have before. There's one in there, but a lot of hours are put in during that time frame.
Well, we're going to talk about the Nationals a little later. I want to take people through your history first. I believe your father was Dick Duncan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. Dad started working at Knoxville Raceway before it was Knoxville Raceway.
Right.
It was a county fairground. Late 1940s, he ran a road grader for the secondary road department here in Marion County. So after World War II, they needed someone to blade the racetrack, and he wanted a couple extra bucks. So that's where it all started. His stories that I'd heard him tell before was that back then they would hold a race once a month throughout the summer, and he jumped at the opportunity, and the rest is kind of history from that point on. In the 1950s, he and a couple other guys that worked for the county, they're the ones that actually built the racetrack into what it is today, or real similar to what it is today. And then, I don't know, Dad had 8 kids. 6 of us had worked at the track with him at one point in time. And I'm the only one that stuck around and kept going at it. The rest of them, I mean, we all have other things that we like to do and jobs. But that was just a passion of mine. I grew up around Knoxville Raceway, and I love being there and still do today.
Well, and I believe your father, then he took over as an assistant under a guy by the name of Ralph. Was it Gatto? Gabo?
Yep, Ralph Grabo. That was would have been in 50s, 60s time frame. And if I remember right, Ralph gave it up real early 70s.
72, I believe.
Yep. And that's when Dad took it over. After Ralph gave it up and walked away from it. And he did it through 1994. And that's when I took it over from him, was in 1994. I'd helped him as a kid, dating back to 1977. So all in all, I've been there. This is my 44th season. There was a few years in 1980s that Dad wasn't there. And then after I took it over, I didn't do the track in 1997, came back in 98 and still there.
Well, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to track surface, because I think probably track surface is talked about more than anything. And then it's jump starts and other, cost of racing and everything else. So for you as a kid, what was the allure of you to, I mean, obviously you had more of a passion for it than your siblings, or, your brothers and sisters, because you stayed there. So what was it about it that appealed to you? And where did you learn how to, I guess, prep a racetrack, the ins and outs. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, early on when I was a kid, I was out there with Dad all the time, and I just loved the racing. That's where it all started. But then as I got old enough to help him out a little bit, I think I really enjoyed running the equipment. And I can still remember the day that Dad, I don't know how old I was, 14, 15 years old, and the infield was all dirt. There was no concrete in there. And I remember that day he told me to go get your butt in that maintainer and blade that infield. Scared to death, obviously, because I never run it before. I'd sat in that seat hour after hour after hour with him, watching him. But it's those things. Just the time I spent there with my dad and with my brothers and everybody there, and never wanted to walk away from it.
A lot of people feel like to preparate, the dirt's there, you just shape it, water it, run it in, and that's it. And obviously that's not the case. You can't go to school for this that I know of for prepping racetracks. Your school was under your dad and at Knoxville. How did you learn about this and the ins and outs of clay and how to shape it and what to do with it? If it's too dry, too wet, how much water to put on, and so on.
Dad again, he got me started. He taught me a lot. I heard him for years. He would tell me things. He'd tell my brother things. And when I was younger, I don't know, maybe I just didn't pay a lot of attention, but didn't really understand until I took it over myself. And then it's just that history, that experience, thinking about it all the time. We've done things different throughout the years than what we did 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. And that all came from just that experience, trying different things. These a lot of people call them leles. A lot of people call them tillers. They're actually power harrows. It's a farm implement. And we had one of them things. I didn't even know where it came from. It was laying in a ditch at the fairgrounds, and it was in the early 90s. I pulled that thing out of the ditch and started messing around with it. And it's things like that. You just experiment. And I got to the point to where, man, that thing really served a purpose. And I wouldn't even want to touch a dirt track without one of them things now. They're just so versatile, and there's so many things you can do with them before, during, and after races that experience. Trying things, doing things a little bit different. That's where it all came from. And then I try to store that in my mind and think about what the weather was and what other weekends was similar to what it is this weekend, and try to repeat by the amount of water we put on, or how much loose dirt I leave on the racetrack, and where we till and where we don't till, and how deep, and all those things.
When you took over in 1994 and it was you and whoever, what staff you have, how nerve-wracking was that? That first year, because your dad, granted, in the background and whatnot, but you're the guy. The drivers come to you. Which we'll get to that then.
Yeah.
But how nerve-wracking was that first year? Because now you're the head guy.
It was nerve-wracking, but the last 5-6 years when Dad was there, my brothers and I, we honestly did most of it. Dad was there. He was there to teach us. He would tell us what to do, and we would do it. So throughout that period of time, going in and taking it over myself, I had his back. Even though he wasn't the responsible party any longer, he was there. The first night of the 1996 season, excuse me, Dad was there. He followed me. He was right behind me the whole time. Somebody would come up and ask me questions, and I'd never been in those shoes before, so he helped me out there.
Aside from the track prep stuff, how did that maybe helped the relationship with you and your father. You guys shared something that maybe a lot of fathers and sons don't get a chance to share, a passion with a sport. I know I take my daughter to hockey games, and it's something we bond over. I can't believe she's 12. She has the attention span for it, but hey, I'm not gonna fight it. But what was that? Had to be pretty special to follow your dad around, and then to have him groom you to take it over at. By the way, probably I would say one of the best tracks and most important tracks in sprint car racing.
Yeah, I I might be a little prejudiced, but I think that also, just being there and being involved in it. So something I'm proud of, being there.
And that relationship with your father, did that just make you guys close, just as father son as well?
It did. A lot of people have memories like you just mentioned, you and your daughter and hockey and what have you. Um, Dads playing football or baseball with their kids out in the yard. My memories of my dad was at the racetrack. Um, he was there every weekend, and I was there with him even when I was a little kid. Myself and my younger brother, we were there all the time. We weren't running around. He wouldn't allow us to do that. He was kind of strict, but um, so we really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that relationship with him, even when he quit. If there was something on my mind about the racetrack, first place I went was to his house, and I would pick his brain. I'd try to figure out what I'm doing wrong, what I can do different, what was your experience in the past, and hopefully it came out good. Um, this was kind of a pat on my back, and I'll never forget this. Dad always came up to, even when he didn't come to help me during the day, he'd always come to the races, and he never did stay. He'd just come to kind of like check up on us to see how things were. And I'll never forget the one night he told me that I've never had a racetrack like this, and that he was proud of me. So yeah, that made myself proud, and one of those things you never forget, coming from your dad.
How has the Knoxville track surface changed from maybe when you took it over or when your dad had it to now? What are some of the biggest changes from a track surface standpoint?
The dirt's definitely changed. The year that I took it over, we went out and got dirt off the farm southwest of Knoxville for the first time, and that dirt worked out really well. And we went back out there about every 4 years. We were putting dirt on the track. We went out there probably another 3 to 4 times, and until we couldn't any longer. So then I kind of piecemealed when we needed. I'd push dirt off the infield. I'd push it off the push-off lane, off on top of the berm out on the racetrack. We'd go outside the racetrack and bring that dirt back onto the track, because that's where it came from. But when all that ran dry to where I didn't have anything left, a year ago, we put new dirt on the track, and it didn't take long for me to realize, and all the race times to realize that it was different. In my world, it was different because it got harder than a rock. It widened out really fast, where in the past we tried to do things to get it to widen out faster. And I had to totally change my philosophy and try to stop it from widening out as fast as it did. What I kept hearing from the race drivers was it was like there was no traction like they used to have. It was slick. It was slicker than it used to be. So that's definitely the biggest thing. But as we lose dirt, we lose banking. The bottom, I can only go so low, or the water won't run into the drain. So as we lose it, and I continue to try to shape it so there's no high spots, low spots, whatever, we lose dirt from the top of the racetrack. So we lose that banking. Now, when we put dirt on there the fall of 23, we put more than we needed to, but I wanted to. So the bottom guardrail, we used to just build the dirt up to the bottom of that guardrail, but this time we kept hauling dirt until it was at least halfway up, or about another foot, which added more banking than what we had. And now we're starting to lose a little bit. It's our second season. That top side's starting to go down a little bit. So dirt moves, I guess. Every fall after that late model race that we have in September, yep, I'll tear the racetrack up as deep as I could get it with the Scarifier on the blade, reshape the track because it loses some of its shape throughout the race season. So I'll reshape it. Everything's done by feel and by hand. There's no GPS. There's no nothing. So is it a little bit different than it was last year? Yeah, maybe. Is it a little wider? Is it a little narrower? Maybe. Just last week, I had a guy tell me that hadn't been to Knoxville for a while that, man, them berms are sure higher than they're taller, higher than they used to be. And they probably are because a little bit ago, I mentioned that when I needed dirt on the racetrack, I was pushing it off the top of the berm, the push-off lane out on the racetrack, and it got fairly low. I bet there was times it wasn't a foot tall. Now it's probably 4 foot tall. Just due to the fact that when we hauled dirt in there, I built that back up to what it used to be. So because it's dirt changes, dirt moves. And that's probably the biggest thing is the dirt itself.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. Thank you to everybody who's already logged in here, everybody in the chat. And I think we're going to have plenty of content tonight or plenty of things to talk about tonight. So let's jump right in. I got the first like. Yes, you do. Sorry, I have allergies tonight. So dummy me forgot to take a Zyrtec today. So if I start sneezing, I apologize. Who do you think is at risk to lose their seat come the end of the Knoxville Nationals this year? I don't think we'll see a deal like we did last year with Spencer Baston. I don't see any, really. I think looking up and down the two national rosters, I think people are pretty safe. Obviously, we saw Ashton Torgerson leave the 51, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in this show. But I don't, unless a driver leaves to go somewhere else, I don't see anybody getting fired right after the Nationals. I think if there's going to be any changes, it'll be one of those deals like Justin Peck or CJB after the season's over, or we'll start getting wind that somebody's going to be out of a car and then somebody else will be in it, but they'll finish the season or something like that. I don't think we'll see anything like we did last year with Spencer Baston. I've heard a couple of names thrown around for Sealands Grove. They are very interesting. It won't matter who takes over. If they can't get Heimbach back at the track, will suck. Heimbach will be back. I was told by Matt Keller yesterday that Blaine Heimbach and the track crew will be staying. Hello, Jeremy. Rico in Victory Lane. I'm getting on the shoulders of Danny Lasowski. Was a great moment and memory for sprint car racing. Rico, if anything, even aside from being a good sprint car driver, he's a showman. I think we saw what he did at the Dome with Scott Bloomquist. He's kind of fun. You know, he doesn't mind doing fun things. And different things to try and promote the sport. So I'm not surprised that that happened. Jeremy, it's always a talking point in Australia when 410 sprint car drivers contest our 360 title and take all the accolades. Some say they should race at least 6 360 shows to compete. Do you see that happening with the 360 Knoxville Nationals that 410 drivers have to compete in at least 6 360 local shows to enter? No. No, because they're trying to sell seats at the 360 Nationals. The purse has been going up. And I think they want to sell seats, and stars sell seats. So I don't see that ever changing. In fact, I don't see that changing in sprint car racing really anywhere. I don't. California, definitely not, because they mix and match drivers a lot. Central PA, URC is just about dead, so they need all the help they can get. And again, the 360 Nationals, one of the deals with High Limit is they're off that week so they can go run the 360 Nationals and get track time. And I think the promoters at Knoxville like it because, again, it fills seats. Does Sugar Bear make a return to the show? I don't know what Sugar Bear's doing. I mean, he's tied up maybe on Tuesday nights. Maybe he comes on, maybe he doesn't. Am I wrong in feeling that Chad boat ride that Ashton Torgerson is now getting into is better than the Three Stooges ride that Steven Snyder Jr. is now getting into? I don't think that's inaccurate. I think the Three Stooges team, there's not as much experience there. I don't think that, I mean, obviously it's been a struggle this year. I think Chad Boat obviously has a lot of experience, and I definitely think the 87's a little bit better of a seat, but doesn't race as much, and Steven Snyder Jr. wants to race more. So this gives him an opportunity to race this weekend and through Knoxville. Who knows what happens after that? It really didn't say what was going to happen after the Nationals. So maybe Snyder will be in it the rest of the year, maybe he won't. Jeremy, does Eric get commission when he asks his question via Facebook or on your live show? No, he does not. Steven Snyder Jr. top 10s with the Outlaws in the 51 over under 5 top 10s. Well, I don't know how many races he's going to run. It really didn't say that, at least what I've seen, but I will say under. Good evening, Jeremy. Did you watch any of the race from Huset's on Sunday night? I think that Outlaws High Limit cars would be there. What a show. Poorly run night, 5 hours on a Sunday night. Slow. Yeah, not good. You can't start your feature at 11 o'clock on a Sunday unless it's for rain or something like that. And at that point, you just pull the plug. I'm not surprised there weren't a lot of guys there because, well, Outlaw guys, they're not going to burn one. And for High Limit, they're focused on the Nationals now. Focused on 360s, focused on 410s. They're not worried about Huset's right now. So, yeah, you can't have a show go that long. I don't care if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It doesn't matter. That's way, way over what you can do and retain fans. Went to Williams Grove on Friday. It can't survive on nostalgia alone. Some young fans around me said they never need to go back. I asked them why can't see the whole track and get in line racing. It wasn't a good weekend for Williams Grove. I thought the track going into the A main Friday was going to be okay, and then they tilled it, and that definitely didn't help the product. I think it took probably 20 laps for it to even blow off to where guys could move around a lot. And by that time, they were strung out. And then on Saturday, I thought it was a little better, but turned out not to be that good. And again, there wasn't a pass all weekend at Williams Grove. There wasn't a pass at Baps, but they got an inch and a half of rain the day before. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I've seen the track decent at the Grove this year a couple of nights. The Speed Week show I thought was good. The second one where Macri and Dietz were going at it. There was a couple handicap shows that were good, but yeah, it was not a good product to put out over the weekend with kind of everybody in the country watching. Following up on what engines Logan Rumsey uses, Jeremy said he have an answer tonight. Okay, it's a late model engine builder out of Ohio. Is it Crane, Dane, or something like that? I couldn't really understand what they were saying because there was stuff going on around us, but it's a late model engine builder out of Ohio. One of our discussions while we were loading up this past weekend at Sharon was in relation to Deweese Eichelberger. Lance will probably be mad that I asked, but do you think this team stays together? I do. I do think they stay together. I think they probably get some crew chief help. What is it? Yes, Drain. I'm sorry. I was a combination of two things. So yes, Drain. I couldn't understand, like I said, stuff going on around me, and I didn't want to keep saying what. So I do think Deweese and Eichelberger stay together. I think we could see a crew chief come in there. I wouldn't be surprised. But where's Deweese going to go? And who's Eichelberger going to get? I think that's something we got to start asking ourselves anytime we start wondering about teams and guys splitting up. And they obviously probably haven't met their own expectations this year, but I think they're in the top 5 of the series standings. They've won a couple races. I think they've done enough to where they're going to stay together. I think the 45 car out in Ohio runs Dream too, possibly. Well, if I'm not mistaken, they picked up this motor from Brian Grove himself. So that would make sense. Isn't it going to be Sprint Car Unlimited Speedway at Sealands Grove? No. Nice try, though. Who's your pick for 360 Nationals? Give me Rico. I think Rico doubles up. I think the last time somebody's doubled up was Shane Stewart, who's successfully defended a title. And that was 2010 through 2013, I believe. He won it 4 years in a row. So I think Rico Abreu gets it done. What up with people stealing out? I wonder this all the time. What up with people stealing outlaw banners at the end of the night? It doesn't belong to them, yet they do it. I noticed it on Friday night. Thank goodness security guard took it back. It's stealing. I don't understand it. As a kid, I never did it. My dad wouldn't have allowed me to do it. Number one, I don't understand the whole taking of banners. It's stealing. I don't care how you slice it. They don't say over the loudspeaker or the PA speaker over in the beginning of the night, you can take the banners. So it's stealing. That's what it is. There's no other way to slice it. That's what it is. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Gonna have a story soon on Lucius quietly quitting the 27H. I've heard rumblings, but I haven't made a call on it yet. I've been pretty busy with the Sealands Grove stuff and Torgerson, Steven Snyder, and some other things getting ready to leave for the 360s on Saturday. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming soon. I have heard some rumblings about it. Thoughts on Danny Dietrich post about track prep at the Grove last weekend? Nothing really, because I almost expect it. He wasn't the only one complaining. I mean, it was throughout the pit area, so he was just the one who got on social media and voiced his displeasure. It's expected. It's expected. I know a lot of guys weren't happy with it this weekend. Still think that Buddy wins the Woo title in the next 2 years? Yes, I do. Not this year, but yes, I do think so. I enjoyed the F1 race at Williams. I like F1, so I like the pageantry of F1. I do think the packages are better. I do think they made it where you're dicing a little more. I know I don't think Americans understand F1 racing and what it is. And it's not a slight on, it's just different than what we expect. It's a very technologically advanced form of racing. And I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm a Michael Schumacher guy. So even though he's not around anymore, I like F1. Big shout out to Dylan Norris and the 17N team on a great weekend with the Outlaws. We wrote a story on SprintCarUnlimited.com yesterday about it. Finished fourth, a career best for him against the Outlaws. His previous best came at Baps Motor Speedway in 2023. So I was surprised when I talked to Dylan that he's taken over the crew chief duties. His dad, Sean, has been in racing a long time and has been with some decent teams. So I was a little surprised by that. They switched shocks to Brad Alexander. Brad Alexander, if you don't know who he is, he used to be at TSR. Then he went to Crouch, was the crew chief, and now I think he's in Indianapolis just doing shocks in another business. So I was really surprised to hear that Dylan's kind of taken that over with the blessing of everybody involved. But it looks to be paying off, and we'll see how they progress. Jim Clark guy, yes. Yes, I know. I was actually watching I saw the movie Rush again because I can never turn that off. Niki Lauda so I was watching some videos online about, where Niki Lauda spoke. And I really like Niki Lauda and kind of how he looked at things. And very common sense, very analytical. But I was looking at some F1 stuff, and I saw some Jim Clark stuff on there as well. And just, again, as I said earlier, I like F1. I don't get to watch it as much, but I like it. I enjoy it. Ayrton Senna guy, go Marlboro cars. Buddy Kofoid's an Ayrton Senna guy. Him and I have gotten in arguments about that. Senna, my mentor / best friend Jerry Regal, who's no longer with us, he was a big Senna guy as well, and just an unbelievable racer. And when he died, Brazil just shut down the whole country. So F1's a big deal, even though maybe here it's not. Across the world, it is. It's huge. How do you think Cy Lynch and Danny Sams will do at the Nationals? I think they're going to struggle. I think Cy Lynch could lay down a really good lap in qualifying, but then he's going to have to pass cars from 8th. And I think that's where it could end up being a problem. I think and people don't talk about this as much, where you're slotted in time trials and how loaded is your heat matters. Okay, so if you can time, I don't think you want to be on the inside of row 4. I don't think that's a good place to be. I think if you could be in that 6th place starting spot, I think that's really good. And if you cannot have a loaded heat where you have a bunch of bigger names in front of you, I think Cy Lynch could make it through, but I think he definitely can time well. The key's going to be getting through his heat race. Danny Sams has struggled mightily this year. I'm actually a little surprised that he's going. And only because of motors, equipment, they bent up a lot of stuff this year. I don't think Tanner Thorson's going to be there. And Danny Sams, I know you want to be on that big stage. You want to try and get sponsorship, lure sponsorship, whatever it is. And you got to run the big events. But God, they've had a rough year, just a rough year. So I don't think he has a lot of laps at Knoxville, and it could be a problem. Happy heavenly birthday to Jerry Regal on August 6th. Yes. Miss Jerry a lot. What do you think the biggest issue Schatz is having with CJB? They've been struggling. I know they're going through a lot of motor issues. I talked to Barry Jackson this week, and they're in the process of, working on that. I think you're going to see a switch real soon from Kistler. I don't think it's going to happen this year. So I expect Donnie Schatz to continue to struggle a little bit. I know they used a motor at the Grove that they thought was decent, and guess what? It didn't really work. So he's going to need to draw well on that qualifying night, I think, to lay down a good lap. And then, of course, it's just about passing cars. So that heat race. And I think Donnie, and again, at some point, we got to start looking at it that he's not the Donnie Schatz that he was, who won 10 series titles, all the Knoxville Nationals championships, the Eldor, and there's nothing wrong with that. Donnie Schatz doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. But I think they're dealing with some motor stuff, and I just think Donnie, at this point, can't do some of the things he used to do to carry that through. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Or those two things in particular. Looking at the entry list for Peevely on the Woo website, Cameron Smith is listed. Do you know if that is accurate? If he's on the list, then he's gone. I would assume they asked him this past weekend, and I'm sure they entered. So it's a new track for Cameron. If he thought, I know Eldora, he was a little overwhelmed by that going out on the track the first time. Peevely's going to be, because it's like Eldora smaller. Things are going to happen even quicker yet. So I think that's definitely going to be a learning curve for him. So back-to-back runner-ups at 410 Nationals for Rico. You pick Gravel to win it. I do pick Gravel to win it. I think he's going to get through the heat race this year. That's kind of been the thing for him. And he can't keep having problems in the heat race, can he? I mean, he's long overdue. And 2019 is the last time he's won it. He's won just about everything since then. So, yes, I am taking David Gravel to win the Knoxville Nationals. I also saw the security guard on Friday. The girl had wire cutters. She was ready for the heist, just didn't have it. Just didn't have a lookout. Yeah, I was ready to walk onto the track to get across and start doing interviews, and I saw that. And again, I just don't get it. I know why they want him. They want him signed and all that. It's stealing. That's what it is. Can't change my mind on that one. Would it benefit Williams Grove to move the pits outside of the track? It would improve the sightlines. I think it would be great to move the pits outside of turns 1 and 2. They'd have to clear all that shrubbery and the trees back there. I think they could probably get somebody to do it, York X or somebody like that. But yeah, I think it would be. They moved the pits outside once. It was a Speed Week show, I think. Maybe I might be wrong on that, but they had to do it one night, and I thought it was great. Just think about everything you could do in there. You could run your time trials out of there. They'd go quicker. Then 3 cars wouldn't be as clunky, albeit 3 cars I thought was incredibly bad decision by the Outlaws and officials, whoever came up with that. It's just, you don't get enough of a running start there, and it's kind of a sharp turn into 1. I just don't think it works. And but yes, I do believe if they move the pits outside, it would help them tremendously. Logan's team is peaking at the right time, figuring out the car, and will possibly get his first Knoxville Nationals. They look decent, but then Baps, they took a provisional. And I liked how they came back, and they bounced back at Williams Grove on a half mile. That was good at a place that really, he struggled a little bit at Williams Grove. It hasn't been his best facility of late. But again, the provisional at BAPS concerns me. So it's all about qualifying in that heat race, setting yourself up for the weekend. When do you expect the new promotional team to be announced for Sealands Grove? I think, talking to Matt, he said I'd know this week. I don't know if it's going to come that quick. I'm hoping it's before Saturday because I leave for the 360 Nationals. But I'll definitely have my ringer on. That's for sure. My luck, I'll be on a plane Saturday and it'll ring, and I won't be able to do anything with it. But could be as early as this week. Taking banners is allowed after the final night per Woo official. Great, it's stealing. I don't care. I just don't. I don't understand. I just don't. If I was the World of Outlaws, I'd sell them. Hey, Jeremy, do you think Larson running 410 Nationals is good for the sport? Because with NASCAR running on championship Saturday night, I see it taking away a spot from another driver. I addressed this last week. It's not a hill I'm going to die on either way. It's been done before. This isn't new. Rico Abreu did it. And then Canales got in it and tagged the rear. I just beat him. Beat him on his qualifying night. But I understand both sides because it does take a spot away or does affect points for a lot of people. And they're not supposedly, unless something happens with weather, they're not going to be able to run the finale. So I see both sides of it, but I'm not, again, it's not something I'm very passionate about either way. I believe after BAPS, the one has found that the car they ran was bent and they replaced the car, hence the better runs after BAPS. They did build a new car, and even Logan said in the post race, they had a car set aside for Knoxville, but he liked the one at Williams Grove so much that he might want to keep that one. So now they got a decision to make. So yes, they did. There's something with the BAPS car they didn't like. Is the Macri 360 engine from the builder that does the 410? I don't know. I think it's probably a 360 that they've had, but I have no information on that. In regional action, a name that keeps popping up is 15-year-old Ryder McCutcheon. Yes, I had some in my top 50 about him tonight. 2 Power I wins this year and leads the points in his first year of 410s. Definitely a name to watch the next 2 years. He only has 22 410 starts. He had 8 last year, 14 this year. Leads the Power I points. He's won twice. Won at Humboldt this past weekend. Definitely a name to watch. 15 years old. I know Master Gasters was on here talking about him, and he looks good. If he was in Pennsylvania, we'd be talking about him every week. If he was in California, we'd be talking about him every week. Or at least I would. But because he's in the Midwest, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a kid to watch, and I didn't see him on the list for the Nationals. I might have missed him if somebody could clue me into that. But he looks good in Power I competition. Do you think Anthony will do better this year at Knoxville than last year? I mean, he finished 6th in the B main last year. They struggled a little bit racing, and I mean, he moved forward most nights just in time as well. I don't know. That's a tough question for me because his first laps at Knoxville this year are going to be 360. And then, of course, he'll get the Cappy. I mean, 6th in the B main's not bad. It's just not what we expect from a guy who wins the King's Royal twice. So, check back with me on that one. That's a tough question. I don't know. Gage Palkerbeck got a win this weekend. How about that? It was his second win of the year. He also won at River Cities and now Greenbush. So 2 NOSA wins for Gage Palkerbeck. I like him running a series like that. I don't like him running High Limit World of Outlaws. This goes back to something that I've said many times, which is run the regional series, get better, then make the leap up to the national level. And they just haven't done that. I nose itches incredibly. Which guys currently on Outlaws and High Limit levels you think won't be back in 2027? I haven't really looked. Well, Gage Palkerbeck, I don't know what the financial status is there. He'll be back. I think Three Stooges Racing, I'll be surprised if they're back with the Outlaws. High Limit, I think most of their guys will be back. You know, I mean, Chase Randall, Brenham Crouch, I mean, that's one where you got to wonder. But that's hard to say right now. What Knoxville regulars make Saturdays a main? Well, Ryan Timms. I think Ryan Timms is as close to a lock as you get for a regular. There's always somebody who sneaks in, like one of the Martins or somebody like that. I think it's more cars. I think the Eikenberry cars has sneaked in a couple times. I think JJ Hickle could get in the show. I think he's looked really good this year. Austin McCall times well. He's got to race better. Got to race better. The heat race is critical. You don't want to be buried in that. I think we'll get 2. I think we'll get 2 or 3 Knoxville regulars. I think Ryan Timms is one, and then I think we get one more, either Austin McCall, like a Brian Brown, maybe. He looked racy last week. If he can time well and, again, get through that heat race and just kind of maintain in the feature, he could sneak in. So I'm going to say 2, maybe 3. Thoughts on the PA Posse series now that we're halfway through? I think the same thing I thought as I did when it started. Nothing's really changed. Oops, I stepped on my cat again. I think it's too many races, no officials. I don't think it's been a big deal with the crowd. I don't think it's filled stands. I think it's not talked about. I don't walk through the infield at Williams Grove and hear people talking about it. I don't walk through the midway at Port Royal or anywhere else and hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear people on here saying good things about it. So to me, it's really not made a big difference in this area. I think the car count is somewhere around 29 on an average. They caught a break earlier this year where some high limit guys ran it because they were off and they came in here to get laps for the Weikert and for the Tuscarora 50 and the other big races. But I don't think it's moved the needle at all. I think they have some problems with it, obviously. I think the fringe tracks, I mean, those car counts are down. So I don't think it's I don't want to say it just hasn't been a big deal. What do you know about Brent Marks and him selling out? I'm not saying a word about it. Check back later in the week. Any word on how the person that needed the EMS is doing? No, I have not heard anything about that. Not heard anything. And that gets into HIPAA too. They can only release so much per Pennsylvania. All this talk about tires, tire smashers. Where can we get some older, new Goodyears, Hoosiers, American Racers, etc.? I bet they last the same as these do. good luck. You're not going to get, if you're looking for multiple tire manufacturers in sprint car racing, you're not going to get it. Goodyear has no interest in coming back. None. An American Racer can't, I don't think they can produce enough tires. So it's Hoosier or bust. Here we are. So they either got to improve the tire or we got to stay with what we got right now. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a big push to do more because, well, there's no competition. So I just, the tire thing, maybe you can get American Racer involved on a small level where they don't have to provide tires for everybody. But here again, okay, let's say High Limit gets a couple tracks and maybe IRA and they all get together and they say, hey, we're going to let American Racer run. Well, okay, Hoosier could say, you know what? We're out. And then sprint car racing screwed. Simple as that. Because Continental can pull it. It's a very, 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 very small piece of their business. So they could do that. I mean, do you want to risk that? Or if you're a series or a track, do you want to risk the money you get from Hoosier? All that has to be considered. There's ramifications for making these decisions. So while a lot of fans want that, I think a lot of drivers want that, I just don't see that becoming a reality. Okay, folks, hit the like button. Are we below last week's average 200? We're better than this. And Jeremy's daughter is going to college. Damn it. Not yet. She's not going to college yet, although she acts like it sometimes. Your picks for Knoxville Nationals 360 and 410. Rico to outduel Aaron Reitzel for the 360s. And I've been calling David Gravel for a while now on the 410s, probably since about April or May. I think Todd Quirin finally gets a Knoxville Nationals win. I'm not going to lie, Jeremy. If Kyle runs great on Thursday night and qualifies up front, I'm praying for rain out Saturday in Knoxville. I want to see him included in the field. I think you're probably a lot of people who feel the same way. You are what your record is, Bill Parcells. That is true. What's going on with the Toyota engine? Is it for sale to anyone yet? And that's a good question. It's kind of, I don't know if it is or isn't. I haven't really heard much about it. They say it's going to be. I don't know if people just don't want to buy it. I don't know. I can't answer. I don't know. You'd think more people would buy it because it runs well. I mean, James McFadden runs it. Of course, you have Buddy run it. They run well. So that's a good question. I don't know if it's for sale to the public yet. I heard it is, but are people buying it? Do you think we will see the W car during High Limit Woo West Coast swing now that Brad appears to be done? Goodyear 2 years ago and Baston last year have ran it during that time. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the W car at Gold Cup. It's a race that Brad covets. It's at a track that, of course, he promotes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it at Gold Cup. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of Brad Sweet, though. And, I know talking to him, he seemed pretty content and steadfast on, he doesn't look back a lot. Like, I don't think he's going, what if, or if I would have done this. He's not that guy. So I could see us seeing it at Gold Cup and that's it. And then maybe somebody else in it. Hard to say. Thoughts on the surface from this past weekend at Williams Grove? It wasn't good. Obviously, it didn't produce great racing. I don't think that's a hot take at this point. Drivers weren't happy. I'm sure the track wasn't happy. I'm sure they wanted. I don't think they go in saying, "Boy, I hope it's a freight train tonight," or we hope we don't have any passes in the top five." I don't think they do that. So I'm sure there were a lot of people not happy with it. Short gets his first Knoxville Nationals. He and his team getting confidence in the car. Well, did they not have confidence before? I hear confidence a lot, and does that mean no one else has confidence? So I don't. It comes down to you got to perform. You got to be. It's got to be speed. You got to have raw speed at Knoxville. If you do not have raw speed at Knoxville, you're not going to do well. Someone stole backstretch pit gate entrance banners during prelims of 2025 Knoxville. They returned them to the proper locations the following day. Again, I don't understand it. Three cars at a time at the Grove doesn't work. We got that. Works better at Knoxville and Port Royal. I do agree they want to speed up the show, but still can't take safety for granted. Two cars at a time works. Yeah, that was the whole decision that led to the Tyler Ross problem coming out of the coming off pit road. Never should have tried three. The drivers were questioning it Friday night already. I think we got lucky that nothing happened. I don't think it made it that much quicker. Just go with two. What did they do? Ross get it run over by the push truck. I don't know what that. Yes, the push truck got alongside on the right side, went over the tire, flattened the tire, busted up the wing, a shock, and a couple other components. About $3,000 to $4,000 worth of damage when they pushed him out of the pit area on Saturday night for qualifying. I got a text from somebody about three cars saying, I disagree, LOL. Not at the Grove. Are Ott Motors as good now as they were before Bug retired? I don't know that. I mean, that's people win with them. Macri's won with them. Casey Kane likes them. Other guys win with them in Central PA. I don't think. Yeah, I think the problem is now. I think there's more Morrisons floating around. I think you have HPs now. I just think it all depends on the track surface. Hang on a second. I got to blow my nose. Just hang on. I apologize. Oh, sorry about that. Like I said, I have allergies and they're firing up. That's for sure. All right. Contrary to phone calls and rumors, oh no, asking if we're the mystery money people at Sealands Grove, the answer is enormous no. No, Braden. Funny, I have not heard your name thrown around or the Sage family name thrown around. 1 pound Papa Burger at Williamson Tavern is very good and only 18 miles from Knoxville and takes you back 50 years to a cool dive bar. All right, there's a suggestion for eating out at the Knoxville Nationals. You got a booger hanging? No, I don't. Shut up. Shut up. Uh, Sorry, I'm getting a lot of texts. I wish they'd just get on here. Some good racing going on at Clinton County Speedway tonight and Friday. I couldn't make it tonight, out working off that Race Saver engine. All right. Yeah, they're running the Knoxville now. They're running the Friday, which is Hard Knocks program at Knoxville. I mean, I think it's a series race. Good luck with all that. Could you imagine me answering and reporting to a committee and fair board? I can't imagine you answering to anyone, Braden. Do you see any high limit franchises changing hands in the off season? Yes, I could see a couple changing hands. One, maybe two. I could see that. Look, the model works. You know, a lot of people were skeptical, and we've seen it work. They're getting more than their value. Rod Gross stated that it was a good return on what he spent, and of course, we already know Spire paid north of $400,000 for the one for Jason Myers, so it's been proven to work. If you're struggling out there, why wouldn't you do it? Especially if you don't want to be on the road anymore. So yes, I could see it happening. Now, the problem is there's only 10 of them. And Kerry Madsen didn't earn one yet. He has to finish in the top 8 2 years in a row. So he's on pace this year. And then we'll see what he does next year. Or what Vermeer does next year, because it goes by owner. So it'll be, if I got a call tomorrow or 2 days from now saying that somebody was getting rid of their franchise, if I got a call in September that said somebody was selling their franchise, it wouldn't surprise me. Now, it might surprise me if it was Rico or Aaron or somebody like that, but no, not surprised. The system is working. The proof is, it's like Lauda said, the proof is in the numbers. And those numbers are adding up. I had to go to the work area to sneeze. Look, I had sneezing fits earlier today, and I don't know why. I don't know if we did have a slight change of weather here, but I was taking Zyrtec one a day, like clockwork, and then I didn't take one for 3 days because, well, stupid. I had no other excuse other than I was stupid. And now I have a problem. So it'll go away. I took one today. I'll take one again tomorrow, and we'll be back on it. I apologize. Jeremy, you didn't answer the question. What happened to the push truck driver? Oh, I'm sorry. He went to the back pit. They changed the tire, and he jetted. He was out of there. Sorry about that. I was worried about my nose. So, yeah, that's what happened. He was gone. Friendly reminder that you may now find the Sprint Car Unlimited 98.9 and Deep Dive on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other major podcast platforms. You know, the reason Eric does this is because he knows I forget. So, thank you, Eric. It's got my back. When did Danny Dietrich switch from Donat engines to Riders? Was this switch mid-season this year? I think he's been mixing and matching. He had a Speedway in last year. I think he's just searching. So, yes, I think anything he could get his hands on, he's going to try, because he's time trialing awful. Now, he was better this past week, but then he was on the front row and dropped back. So it cost him a dash spot. So I think at this point, he's willing to try any motor to time better. Okay. Viagra helps sneezing. Well, I'm not going to find that out. The unfortunate thing about NOSA is $12.50 to win isn't helping anyone. Agreed. There's no deep answer to that. Ashton going to be better with this ride? I don't know how long he's going to be in it. If you read the posts, they were very non-committal past the Knoxville Nationals. So we'll see how it develops. I think that's definitely two stories I'm going to chase when I'm out there. I like Steven Snyder. I've mentioned that numerous times here. I would like a more experienced team for him, obviously, because look, Three Stooges, first year out there, crew chief, really hasn't been around very long. And so I do think that experience is a problem all the way around in that team. So I'd like to see him, but we'll see. We'll see how they develop together. We'll see how they do at the Ironman. Again, I think Steven Snyder's talented. Ashton Torgerson looked good in Jacob Allen's stuff, formed well. And then that situation happened, which was kind of weird. And then he ends up in the 51. And I kind of had a feeling this wasn't going to be something that lasted. It didn't. And now Ashton is looking for a permanent seat. Reading a lot of comments this week after the Summer Nationals. I see Deweese talking about track configuration and such. Are there many, what? Some changes in the track structure of the Grove that would help? Okay, I don't know. You got to clean that up. But look, you can make it smaller, but it's going to be a couple $100,000 to do it. $200,000-$300,000 to reconfigure a track like that. That's a big chunk of money. So I don't really know what they could do. I guess they could bring it into the access road coming off 3, maybe do some other things. But again, it's going to cost a huge amount of money. It's not as simple as waving a wand and getting it done. Costs a lot of money to do that stuff. It's a huge investment. To me, the only thing you can do with that thing is make it a little smaller, maybe take the front stretch out a little bit where it's more of a kind of an oval instead of a paper clip. But again, that costs money, and it costs a lot of money. I would say with the way Macri is timing lately, he will struggle at Knoxville. Did not time well at the Grove this week. I was surprised by that. So, yes, that could be a problem out there. The field's going to be just as loaded. Granted, it's split in half, but we'll see how he does with the 360s. Do you think Pittman will park the car after the heat race because he can't race that intense level anymore? No, I don't know where that's coming from. No Tanner Thorson on Nationals list. No, it was scratched off. And again, this is one of those deals I said earlier about Danny Sams. I think Tanner knows what he can and can't do. He's got new owners. He's doing the high limit thing. Just don't run it. There's no shame. And I know people think, oh, where are they at? I get text messages as, oh, guys should go here, go there. It's expensive. And for that team, new ownership, focus on high limit. They're not good at the Nationals. He's not good at Knoxville. We saw that last year. So why go back? Not until he gets a handle on it, can get more laps or whatever. I have no problem with him not going, but no, he is not on the list. Is Ford still a viable option to go to the public for sale like Toyota's plan? Yeah, I think so. I think they got to work the bugs out of it. Kistler's now in charge of that program, and the 41 is making it viable. They've looked good with it under the hood. Carson Macedo, I can tell you, talking to him before they got it and talking to him now, it's been a 180. He was like, oh man, I can't believe we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. And now I have to admit, it's running well. Braden Sage, he can, as somebody who is on the show, I talk to him weekly and he's not a fan of it, but guess what? He's okay with it now. So I think once they get the bugs worked out, I think it's viable. Now, I don't know what the cost will be, but yes, I do think it's something the public could purchase if Kistler can produce them fast enough. Ed on line 2. Ed, how are you?
Yeah, why does everybody call an engine a motor? A motor is electric. An engine is fuel.
I think it's just the wording. I just don't think people are thinking about it. I mean, I don't think about it as when I say it, because you hear, I mean, if you hear something half the time, you don't hear engines near as much as you hear motors. It's just, the English language and people just not thinking when they say it. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Like your show.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, bye. Yep.
All right. John on line 1. John, how are you?
Good. How about yourself, Jeremy?
Not too bad.
So the one thing that I had the question for, with everybody promoting, like, let's shorten down Williams Grove, but yet no one says about Sealands Grove and some of the bigger half miles that are more trickier. In my opinion, too, is you think that they would want a bigger racetrack to promote better racing, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Well, I understand Sealands Grove's been pretty racy lately. At least that's what I'm hearing from guys. So I don't know if that includes, I mean, Eldora races pretty well. Knoxville has been racing pretty well. I don't think every half mile can be lumped into one class of not racing well. That's first and foremost. I think the Grove battles the paperclip configuration. I think they battle some other things, surface, whatever it is, maybe entry into the corners. Again, so I don't think every half mile is the same. That's one thing. But
I appreciate that.
But so, I mean, could they shorten it? Yes, but again, it's going to cost a lot of money to do that. And I'm sure there's some. I'm not saying there is or isn't. I'm sure there's some traditionalists out there who would be mad if you shortened it because it wouldn't be Williams Grove then.
Another question, and this is the last one I have for you. Do you honestly see the sprint car, like the 410s and 360s, dropping off? Because isn't it a few years ago where super late models were one of the biggest in the area of central Pennsylvania? Now they're struggling to get 15, 16 cars on a given night.
So what's the question again? Because you cut out there.
Do you expect sprint cars to drop off like super late models and the street stock division, how they used to get 20 to 30, but now they're struggling to get even 20?
I don't think it will drop like that because this is a 410 sprint car area. This is not a late model area, and nor has it ever been.
Okay.
Now, but I'll elaborate on that. And it's funny, and I mentioned Jerry Regal earlier. We used to talk about every year. Oh my God, the car counts. Look at the car counts. Look at the car counts. And then by season's end, it's in that 28 to 32 range. It's almost like a correction. Now, some of that is the sanctioned races draw more cars. I don't think we're going to get down to a situation where we're averaging 22. I do think there is a problem. I think there's a multitude of problems in Central PA. And I think the late model deal is going to get worse before it gets better, or if it gets better at all. This is a 410 area, and I hate to say it, that's all that matters here. It's just the way people are.
I appreciate your time, Jeremy. Been a big fan of your show. I watch it religiously. And go Macri at the Knoxville Nationals.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it. Full credit here's Braden on the Ford. A full credit to Paul and the people at Ford for letting him take the reins and correcting their issues, making it viable and solid. Really good piece. It rips. Braden, you sound like a commercial now. For the first time ever, you're towing the line. Tanner was driving a 32 at Lucas Oil for JST, and he switched from 88 to 32. I saw that, and I just haven't been able to give him a call yet. I didn't get that far. So I will ask him about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have a number change. The PA Posse series has done nothing. Hate to say it, wanted it to be a success, just like a regular show. Well, the worst part is, too, you say it's just like a regular show, and it's $5 more than a regular show, or in some cases, $10. That's a problem. People aren't going to pay more to see a regular show, see the same guys. The fact that it's $1,000 more to win doesn't, people don't care about that. And then it's a $4,000 strain on the racetracks, except for the tracks who've given up their point fund to pay that $4,000 sanction fee. But that doesn't cover all of it. Now, the Grove might, because their point fund was significantly more. I think maybe BAPS as well, because they only have 4 series races. But Lincoln and Port Royal's point fund does not cover that many sanction fees. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this series moving forward. Crew Chief Andy Potter is a good friend of mine. Any thoughts on Caleb Henry from on out of an Ohio perspective? Like Caleb Henry, California driver. Excuse me. He took a ride last week. At Attica, I believe it was. Took a big ride. I like Caleb Henry. I think he's fast. I think he's going to win the All-Star points. I like what they're doing. Again, I've said this so many times, and I hate to keep beating it. He's running a regional series. Do they plan to move up at some point? Maybe. But either way, I like what they're doing. And I think Caleb Henry's fast. I think, I don't know if I expected this out of him when he came in from California, but I think he's one of the best in the Ohio region, right behind Cap Henry. Timms, McCarl, Henderson, Brown, one of the Martin boys, Hickel make the show. They're not all making the show. They're not all making the show. You're not going to put in 7 guys. Okay, that's not happening. I think you could get 2 or 3 of them. I forgot about Henderson. Shouldn't have. I like the McGee car. That thing's fast. They have Ian Madsen helping out as well. I could see, again, 3 of those guys getting in some way, shape, or form. Maybe 4. Maybe. But definitely not 7. Darren Pittman in the 69K showed speed this weekend at Williams Grove. Can they be true contender at Knoxville? I don't think they're going to contend for the win, but I do think they can put it in the show. I think we saw in time trials they were pretty good. Second night, didn't have a great spot. He was in the end of the first flight, and that kind of puts you in a weird spot. Buddy Kofoid went from winning, then he came out like 5th from the end in the first flight and was nowhere the rest of the night. So I find it hard to believe he was the 25th fastest car at Williams Grove. So things got to line up. But to contend for the win on Saturday night, I think that's a stretch. Dave on line 3. Dave, how are you?
Hey there, Jeremy. I spent a few decades going out there to Atomic Speedway, all the way back to when it was KC. They always had full fields of cars, enough for B mains, even C mains. This outfit was covering the races there for the last couple of weeks, and the sprint car A's down to like 12 cars, and might have been 150, 200 people sitting in the grandstands. It's pretty sad to see. I know that got the lawsuit thing going on, and I always thought they'd could pull cars from Attica,
No.
but I don't know. I got guys are just not going there. It's sad to see.
Well, part of the reason they had the deal with not paying some drivers, that when that hits the internet, that's going to affect your field. You can't, when something like that gets out there, that's a problem. And really, you might as well get the shovel out at that point. It's just you're burying it.
Yeah, I don't.
You can't come back from that except if you have a new regime. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
I hate to see it go down the tube. It was a nice little speedway there.
Yeah, you can't. You got to pay your drivers. You got to do it on time, and it's just been a slow decline after that, problem after problem since that all hit the internet about with the Bryce Lucius and Austin McCarl deal.
Yeah. That's all I got, Jeremy.
All right, Dave.
Boy. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. California to Ohio pipeline has proven successful in recent years. Buddy, the Macedo brothers, and now Gage Garcia and Caleb Henry. Henry's success the last 2 years has been fun to watch. Look good. He won half the All-Star title last year. And, sharing it with Kel Thomas from owner to driver. And he's leading it this year. And he wins races. He runs up front. Looks pretty sporty. Has speed when I've watched him. And even in here, at times, he came in, and I believe he was, I think last year he finished 6th at Lincoln. All-Star guys don't normally do well in PA. Now, this year was a struggle at Williams Grove. But I like what Caleb's done, and hopefully they keep at it. I don't know who the next guy is going to be, though. I would have never projected Gage Garcia to do that, but we'll see if he can catch up to Caleb. Thoughts on Woo and StubHub tickets? I'm really, really surprised that this was such a big issue. I'm stunned by it. To me, it's a nothing burger. It's not a big deal. You still can buy your tickets from the normal outlets. Call the Outlaws, the Track, whatever it is. These are resale tickets. I just don't see what the big deal is. Again, this is much like some other things. I was really surprised that this took off and grew legs like it did. I don't think it's a big deal. So I don't have it's much like the gambling. When gambling came out in sprint cars, you had people going, "Oh my God, this is going to ruin it." And oh my God, it has been the biggest nothing burger to hit this sport ever. The gambling thing is a huge nothing. And I don't think it hits that status. I think it's just a resale thing. And I don't think it's going to amount to much with it. So really don't have much to say about it other than that. I remember a couple years ago, Danny ran American Racer one night at Sealands Grove, and he did not like them. He didn't grow up on them. You have to go back to DeWeese for that. He's probably the only person in the pit area who's run them. So I can understand it from a feel standpoint. If you've never run them, it's going to feel way different. Thoughts on BAP's show from Wednesday? I thought they ran an efficient show. I think the track was good considered for what they had. They had an inch and a half of rain the day before. I thought the track was too good. It was too good around the top. There's really nothing they could have done. I think the car count hurt them. I think if they would have had 42 cars and could have ran a C main, I think the feature would have been really good. It was starting to get good at the end, but then the race was over. So I think for what they had in the 24 hours leading up to the race, and it didn't get as sunny as they expected. It was cloud cover from the time I got there. So I think that was a big part of it too. Just with an inch and a half of rain. So I think they did what they could, and the track was too good, and the fact that they didn't get a lot of cars didn't help the track. All right, Don on line 4. Don, how are you?
How are you tonight, Jeremy?
Struggling a little bit here with allergies, but otherwise I'm okay.
Oh, I've had them. No good. I was at Port Royal on Saturday when they ran, and Williams Grove on Friday night. And it's amazing. I noticed one thing that it's kind of odd, that the track prep was like quicker than ever before. And I don't know if that means they didn't dig the track down far enough, but it seemed like it was done. I'm going to have to use the word on time, and I guess maybe that's what we're looking at too. But I just don't think they take these tracks deep enough anymore, or they don't get enough water in the dirt. I don't know if you had noticed anything like that.
I know Port's big problem was they got new clay, and they watered it, and I think they got too much water into it because, again, new clay, and they got it in the middle of the year. So, well, sort of in the middle of the year here. And then they haven't been able to work it because they had 9-10 rainouts or races lost. I don't understand getting clay in the middle of the year. I mean, to me, you get that in the off season, you let it knead in with the rest of the clay you have. Admittedly, I do not know enough about dirt and track prep. I mean, I can guess on where they should put water just because I've seen thousands and thousands of races. But as far as whether they dig down, like the Grove on Friday night, didn't need a tiller. They didn't need to dig at all. It was coming around. It was coming around. I think you have so many factors that go into it. I think you have weather. I think you have how many cars you have, how much racing you've had throughout the season. When did you get your clay? All that stuff.
See, the only reason I bring this up, and I know your favorite track is Eldora.
Oh, yes.
And it was mine for many years. But when I used to watch Earl Boltz do that track and dig it down 8 to 10, maybe a foot deep at 9 o'clock in the morning and run it in all day. And I mean, even Tony Stewart don't do that anymore. He don't go that deep. And that's just a thought, you know. And I enjoyed your interview with the guy that does Knoxville.
Yeah, the Duncan.
And the thing I liked about it is that he tries things. Yeah, he does experiment. Of course, he's using a different kind of dirt too. I mean, that black dirt is just different than probably anywhere else in the country. But it's just a thought, just seeing how fast the track was prepped on the 2 nights I was there. I mean, I basically sat down, the track's done. Normally, you'll sit there to after 6 o'clock and they're still running it in.
Yeah,
and that didn't seem to happen.
Now, here's the other thing I'm hearing a lot of. The tires are affecting the tracks. These new tires are affecting the track and not always in a positive way. I think there's more variables than there used to be. I think you have where you're getting your clay. I think tracks obviously change where they get their clay. I think the new tires. I've heard a lot about the tires affecting tracks. We were having a problem with them rubbering up there for a while. And I think it's because of how abrasive the tracks, how abrasive the tires were. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it now. I think a lot of teams are struggling with the tires, and I think it's also kind of moved over into the tracks themselves and some of the people who are preparing these tracks. So I think there's a lot of variables that go into it. And that's why I don't criticize track surfaces very much because A, I don't think it's an exact science. B, I think there's more variables than there used to be. And C, I know no one's going out and going, hey, let's have a bad surface tonight. I think it's a moving target. I really do.
All righty, thank you. Just something I happened to notice my last 2 trips out.
Well, there might be something to that. There might be something to that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's just something I noticed, and it's kind of the kind of thing you don't notice. Normally, you go there and you see who's there, who's running, and things like that. And I'm looking at track prep is done. I know it sounds odd, but
yeah.
All righty. Have a good evening, sir.
All right, Don. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Oh, long one here. 20 or so years ago, Doug Esch filled in for either an injured Hod or Delansky in New York. I believe that was at the R19. I think it was Hod. Doug won in the car and raved about how much better their stuff was than what he had with the 30 car, which was a top PA team. Do you think most Woo high limit equipment is still on another level compared to PA's best? No. I think they have more of it. I think times have definitely switched. I think Dietrich stuff's every bit as good as an Outlaw team. I think Macri stuff is every bit as good, if not better than Outlaw team. I think Chase Dietz has the best equipment possible. I think Wagaman has the best equipment possible. I just think that they don't have as much of it. So I think the days of you having a significant equipment advantage, when you're talking about the top teams in each region, I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the amount you have. Scott on line 5. Scott, how are you?
Hey, good, doing well, Jeremy. How you been?
Doing okay, not too bad.
I'm glad to hear it. Reason I was calling in is I know that all of us Pennsylvanians who were not as fortunate as yourself to get to go to Knoxville, I just wanted to give some heads up. There is an amazing 600 race at Greenwood Valley. I know it's a sprint car call-in show, but KPM Challenge is up at Greenwood Valley Friday and Saturday of Knoxville. $20 a night, and I believe they have over 100 entries from all over the country. So just throwing that out to the open wheel fans, and maybe the next Jet Anderson will be up there, or Steven Snyder, because he was a couple of years ago, you know?
Yeah, Steven Snyder, that's where he made his bones. He was, I think, didn't he make $100,000 or something in a year in a micro car, if I'm not mistaken? He won every big race.
He did a few. Yeah, he was amazing, and that's why I know you're so busy with your own thing, but sometimes the 600s in our area are a gift from the gods. They really are. For 15 or 20 bucks, the racing you see is amazing, and the tracks are perfect size for the cars, if you understand what I mean.
Yep.
You know, I heard all the stuff on the Grove tonight in Shortnet. There's something to be said for bull rings. Grandview is a gem. It's too bad it's not closer to Harrisburg, because it would be fun to see more races on Grandview size tracks in our area.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I
love the half miles, but man, bull rings are great too, man. There's something to be said for bull rings.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, but anyways, hey, you have a wonderful trip, and like I said, have a nice pork tenderloin sandwich for me, my friend.
Well, Scott, thank you very
much.
Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate it.
Hey, God bless you and safe travels, my friend.
Same to you.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Pat on line 6. Pat, how are you?
Hey. Good, Jeremy. How you doing today?
Not too bad.
Hey, what's your opinion on a couple things? Or one thing that I heard, you heard Donnie Schatz and Danny Dietrich complaining about these tires. The construction of them seem to be different. Now, what's the situation about this tire squisher thing that they got now to check it out? It sounds like it has to do a lot with the tires not being consistently built the same. And then come feature time, these guys are having problem with shocks.
The tire smasher is basically they're about $5,000, I guess, and you can have them in your trailer. Some teams have them, some teams don't, and I think it just basically measures the spring rate or what they would like for a shock. I think it's like the spring rate of the tire, or it calibrates it, or however you want to say it. But not everybody has the tire smasher. It's funny with the tires. I talked to Logan Rumsey's dad this week, and he said, you know what? Everybody's making too much of a big deal about your tires. He said, just work on your car.
Yeah, kid's fast, ain't he?
He's fast,
and
I think they don't get wrapped up in a lot of, talking about, what's not good or what is good, or, oh, we got a 109 and can't use that, give it back, as far as a tire, and they just take it and they adjust their car accordingly. I know as I was walking out Saturday night, they said something to me about that. So, I don't know, but the tire smasher is something that has been around, I guess, a little bit in some form, and now it's actually showing up in trailers.
I guess the more money you got, you can get one, right?
Well, $5,000.
You're going to get them.
$5,000 for a team like that. I mean, that's not a big deal.
No, like gravel or them. I get you. But yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, I watched this Grove on TV, and those nights were sort of disappointing. But I understand, like you said before, about being, the tracks. These guys running in tracks and wearing it in. That's a tough thing to do. You're talking in the middle of summer, where it's 90 degrees out and stuff like that. But it just seemed like the lack of the passing just wasn't there. I don't know. I don't know what to say about Grove. But I watched National Open will be a whole different animal, because maybe it's different time of the year where it's a little colder, more moisture in the air and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on that?
The temperatures will be different. Track surface will be different. The variables will be different. Hopefully they get more races on it and they can work on it. I know they got a tiller now. That's the first time I've ever seen a tiller there. So maybe they'll use that more. Learn from their mistakes. So I don't know if we'll see the same thing. Excuse me. But it wasn't good. And why it wasn't good, I can't answer that. But I'm hoping it's different for the National Open.
I do too, because like I said, that's such a prestigious race, and you're going to have everybody there. And I mean, I'll tell you, it's another prestigious thing right now too. Is because the other day is the entry list for the 360 National. You almost got every high limit guy there running that, and the Outlaws are going to be struggling down at I-55 at that Ironman, because everybody wants to. I guess now, because they're paying pretty decent money now to win that 360 National. What I think it's 25,000 this year, right?
It's 20. It's 20, and there's 112 entries.
That's crazy, ain't it? That's crazy. That's crazy. But the nice thing about that, I think the locals got a little bit more of a better chance than that, because a lot of the national teams aren't used to running 360, but of course they're intelligent on how to handle a car. But I mean, set up a car and everything like that. But they're just, I think the local guys might have a little edge on that. I mean, like what's his name, Cade Hegday. Kid's been running super great there. Look at Brian. Brian did an outstanding job this past weekend. I mean, even though he started on the front row, he didn't ran a damn good race in them 360. But are you going out for the 360 National?
I will be out there for the finale. I leave Saturday morning. I'll get out there about, noon, I guess it is. And Rico and Tyler Courtney won the last two. So
Okay.
yeah, so I don't
That
think it's
sounds-
going to matter.
Okay, that's the big guys clinic.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the big
yeah.
guys are there. They're gonna show out and show up, and I think they're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I love the show. It's super nice. You're a super intelligent guy on sprint car racing, and I really, really enjoy listening to you, buddy. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, bye now.
Bye bye. Brent just said we land at 10 a.m. He's like a travel agent. I depend on him. Be happy with 2-car qualifying. Used to be one at a time. Yeah, 2-car works. The whole 3-car thing didn't, wasn't. That just didn't make sense. Ken Joseph said he hopes I'm not sick for the Nationals. No, it's allergies. I didn't take an allergy. It's just allergies, and they're super bad this year. So I apologize. Thoughts on Western PA legend Bob Felmley at 64 years old, leading the point standings at Tri-City by 21 over Brandon Mattis. When I saw him come back, I was stunned. I didn't know that because I remember Bob Felmley from years ago. But no, he gets around Tri-City really well. He's won. And yeah, I think he can win a point title there. I don't think they're going to beat him. Pat on line 7. Pat, how are you?
Good, man. How are you doing? Love the show so far, man.
Thank you.
Hey, just wanted to comment. The Houston show on Sunday night was a banger, man. That was seeing Reese Moran get his first win, holding off Ryan Timms. Casey Kane was tough. He looked great, actually. Persley was moving up until he got caught up in an incident there. I really think Persley's going to have a good second half here coming up. I think they're starting to get faster. I think it's starting to work there at KKR. But I just want to say Reese Moran drove a great race, and it was so exciting seeing him get his first. I think it was his first 410 win. But sure as heck it was at Houston, but it was just a great show. So
I agree with Persley. I think Persley will get better as the year goes on, which that stands to reason. He has a new crew chief and really a new crew chief to sprint car racing, so it's going to take time to develop. He seems to have picked up a little more speed as of late, and so that doesn't surprise me. Can't run a 5-hour show. That's the one thing you can't do on a Sunday, whether somebody's watching it or they're actually in attendance. So Reese Moran, interesting guy in the Midwest to keep an eye on, along with the McCutcheon kid who's with Power Eye. So I think the Midwest has some younger guys, or has some guys who are starting to make noise. Maybe some new guys out there, new blood who can challenge the national guys.
The bad thing at Houston was, man, it was just a rough night on equipment. It was just one of those nights where a lot of bad stuff, and I just hate seeing equipment get tore up. It's awful.
So do they.
It's not good. Yeah, it's not good. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot of good young talent coming up. A good-looking young kid up at Houston, Sammy Henderson, is really starting to get fast. And boy, I tell you what, they're doing a great job for what they got, and just a really good kid, and super excited. But I just can't say enough about that show on Sunday night. It was a great feature. It was fun watching it. So.
Well, they needed it. They needed to save the. They need to save the show after being there so long.
Yep. Hey, we'll see you at Knoxville, and
I'll be there.
Wait. So have a good one, Jerry.
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate it. Seeing that the franchise system is working in providing value to owners, do you think it's a good thing for the sport? Yeah, why not? Let's put it this way. How's it bad? I think owners need to get more money, And I think this is a way for them to do it. I don't see the downside because you're selling it. You're not losing a car. You're selling it to somebody who's going to use it. So therefore, that would be the only downside. And I don't, obviously, somebody's not going to buy it to do nothing with it. So I don't see a downside with what's going on with it currently. They're selling for more than their value. I would say probably 3 to 5 times more. So I think that's a good thing. I don't know how that would hurt the sport at all. Provisionals are bad enough, but Wagman not even attempting to run the B either night and getting a spot in the A is a bad luck. I always hated that. One year I wrote an opinionated column about that. I think it was Joey Saldana and Kerry Madsen at the Grove. They didn't even attempt after a heat race to run, or they ran to C or D or whatever it was, and it was terrible. I don't get that. I agree. I guess the easy thing to say is I agree. I just don't. I don't like provisionals at all. So I don't like them in any form. But you should at least have to attempt to be. Any thoughts on a heat race starts getting called back? Some were real iffy. I didn't think it was that bad at the Grove. I didn't think it was that bad. Now, the one place to stand, and some of it too is even the camera angles are from the top of a tower that's how far away. One of the things I like about BAPS is they have a container you stand on in turn 4 and you're looking right at the line. So you can see better. That's a better vantage point of who jumps and who doesn't. And it's better than anything on TV as well, because you're still looking from a tower down into a corner. So it's such a arbitrary thing, it seems like. I don't think they're 100% correct all the time on the calls. It's a judgment call in a lot of cases. But again, the ones at BAPS, I didn't think they made bad calls. I was there standing in turn 4 on top of the container. It's why I stand there. You get a chance to really see what's going on with the starts. And I think somebody needs to be standing there to do it properly at the line. Who's rolling, who gets on it early, who plays games, so on and so forth. You can't see that from the tower. Somebody spins the tires. So I think it's a really tough deal. What are they doing? Wrestling on the floor upstairs? Jesus. Living in an apartment. You hear the damnedest things. I've been in push trucks before, and I was shocked when that guy did that. It was bad. It's about $3,000, $4,000 worth of damage. Credit to Williams Grove. I think they're going to make good on it. The push truck guy went to the back pit. He changed the tire and left. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors flying around about. I'm not going to get into that because we don't know. We don't know. And I think that would be unfair to judge that if we don't know. There's nothing factual. But I've seen it now. You had to deal with Eldora, with Cole. You had to deal with Tyler Ross. It seems like it goes in waves. We had to deal with Sammy at Lernerville. We just have different. The amount of cars that are pushed in a weekend of sprint car racing, I can't believe it doesn't happen more. Because I've been in a side-by-side when they push cars away. I'm not doing it. No way. I don't want that responsibility. So I can't believe it doesn't happen more often. Hunter Schoenberg looked solid during Indiana Sprint Week. Are we going to see him back in a wing car anytime soon? I doubt it. I just don't know where he'd go at this point. He's jumped around a little bit. So no, I would be willing to bet we see him more in the wing ranks. Starters would solve these problems. They're not going to reconfigure the cars. There's not. Any chance on a deep dive with the 1980 National Open winner, Alan Klinger? There's a request we haven't gotten. Alan Klinger. I don't even know how I get a hold of him. Not a bad one, though. Husitz this past Sunday. Trom didn't race in the C or B and used a provisional for the A main. Wrong on many levels. Should make an attempt first. Why do we need provisionals at all? What is this second chance stuff? I don't understand why we need them at all. But if you're going to do them, you got to make an attempt at least. I don't care if you go out and pull off. Whatever. I hate provisionals. Nothing's going to make me like them. Tanner Thorson hasn't had good big track speed either. No, I think, yeah, that's probably true. He struggles on them. Hey, Jeremy and Eric, checking in from North Carolina. Appreciate the show and ready for a Macri or Gravel Knoxville Nationals win. Wow, there's a pairing we don't hear very often. I think you're going to get a gravel one. Carson Macedo is now over 200 points back in Woo standings. It's time for him to go full bore with the Ford program for the rest of the year. I don't think they have enough motors to do that. I think they're in the process of getting them refreshed. I think the one lapped out. I think they had two of them. Braden can probably tell me if that's how many they had. But I do know they didn't have them in at the Grove. They were lapped out, and I do expect them to have one in for the Nationals. Best thing about PA Speed Week, no provisionals. I don't know if it's the best thing, but it's definitely something that's good. You should do a deep dive with Lynn Schaefer. I know Lynn, I saw him this weekend. I can hook you up with Klinger. Tell you what, Pat, if you could pass that along to Eric, if you could, or send me an email. I obviously don't want a number floating on here. That's something we might do. I'm going to try and get Sean Keane this week. I think that would be interesting. My email address is up in the chat. Is everyone okay with Doug Johnson being named the 410 Sprint Car Promoter of the Year? Yes. I think Doug does a tremendous job. I thought he should have got it. I don't know if it was 3 years ago. I thought he should have gotten it, and he didn't. I don't vote on that panel. I'm on the nominating and induction committee for the Hall of Fame. So I help pick the people who go on the ballot, and then, of course, the selection process. But I have nothing to do with the poll stuff. But Doug Johnson does a great job at Husitz and Jackson. Sounds like my ceiling's going to fall down. Jesus. Danny Sams is a great driver, but I think he needs to hang around Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. Maybe Western PA doing just regional stuff and stacking wins for stats list. Great is a strong term. We do not know if he's great yet. However, I do agree. I think run the All-Stars, run IRA, run Power I, and then take that next step up. Build, get your name out there more. Build a program, get a crew chief. So you have the resources you need to run a national tour. I can't say this enough. people just want to jump right away, and it never ends well. Very rarely does it end well. Bobby Allen pulled it off, but Bobby Allen pulled it off because he's Bobby Allen. Okay, there's not many of those floating around. So I do think it's almost like I feel like one of those guys who the rookie symposiums for professional sports, where they go in and tell them the do's and don'ts. And I'd like to get some of these guys and say, look, you don't need to be on high limit in the World of Outlaws year one. Okay, now I get Danny Sam's trying to do it for the franchise. I understand that. But now, at this point, with finances and the equipment you have, it was a lot to bite off. And again, I think he could win races with the All-Stars. I think he could win their title. Who knows? And I wish that's what he would do. Would someone explain what the hell shortening the Grove is supposed to accomplish? You just have shorter straights and the same corners. Not necessarily. If you bring the turns 3 and 4 into the access road and reshape it a little bit, it would totally change it. You could just reshape it a little bit once you bring that in. You're shortening it. You don't necessarily, it's just a different way of doing it. You're taking away some of the straightaway, and you can reshape that corner. And I think it would help. I think also you need to I think you need to do something with the backstretch. But there's some reshaping that you could do with that place. But again, they're not going to do it, and it would cost an extreme amount of money. Extreme amount of money. Corey Day will win the Nationals. It's not even going to be close. Wow. That's a bold statement. Bold statement. I do think he can win the Knoxville Nationals. Ever since he's gone there, ever since he's entered the gate there, he's been good. So, yeah, I think he's in the hunt. I think he could be in the hunt. Still taking gravel. Uh-oh. And no disrespect. Look at Braid. Now he's politically correct. And no disrespect for the previous Ford attempts, but since Ricky has left TSR, the Ford program hasn't had someone with Philip Dietz's experience and knowledge involved. I think that's important. I would agree with that. Fair statement. Hey, Jeremy, I was told a long time ago that Williams Grove Speedway was Davy Brown's personal dyno. Maybe. I don't know if they tested there a lot or what. I know under the current regime, no. But maybe. What were your thoughts on the Summer Nationals crowd? After all the rough comments from the weekend, what's your thoughts on the National Impossible crowd? I don't think they helped themselves. I thought the crowds each night were good. I thought they made money. I thought strong crowds. Infield was really good. There were some obviously pockets in the grandstand, but middle of summer, people on vacation, you're going to have that. I thought the crowds were good, but I do worry when you have a product like that over a weekend. I worry about the National Open dipping a little bit. I think it could be weather dependent, but who knows? It's still the National Open. People attend that event. It's still a crown jewel. Yes, I've continued to maintain that. I maintain that thought. So I think the National Open will do fine. I don't think it'll be a problem. But at some point, there is concern when there's a lot of negative feedback. So hopefully that won't be the case, and it'll still be a good event. Will there be a Knoxville Nationals podcast with Corey Neshaw this year? I'm glad you brought this up. We're going to do something different. Corey Neshaw, let's put it this way, I might have made a wager or two in my life. And I think burying Corey on the podcast isn't the way to go. I'm going to put him on YouTube this year. I'm going to do a separate show with him, probably like an hour, and it's going to be just about his pool. It's going to be about the, who we think is your pick should be for his pool. It's one of the biggest pools of the year. He does a great job, and I want to showcase it a little more on YouTube for more people. So we're going to do that a little different this year. So we definitely will have Corey Neeshaw in some form on YouTube. You can't get enough of Corey Neeshaw. So play his 360 pool this week. And like I said, I'm anxious to do a YouTube show with him. Eric's finding out for the first time. Always like when Eric finds out on a show about another show we're going to do. But no, I really, I'm anxious to do that with Corey. Corey does a great job in putting the pool together. And I know he's reached out. We were talking today back and forth about his groupings, and he has some tough decisions this year of who to put where and who they're going to be with. It's even I was kind of like, man, you can't put him in G2. He's a G3 guy, and it's just some tough calls. So yes, to answer your question, yes, but it's going to be in a different form on YouTube. We're going to do something a little different for the podcast from Knoxville. Casey Jedrzejek returns this weekend. Good. I was a little concerned that he wouldn't. I think he's had a decent year. I know he's had some crashes. I know he's been up some stuff, but some of that wasn't all his fault. And I've been really impressed with him, and I hope he stays with the Rose car if he's going to stay out there. Deep dive, Jimmy Sills. That would actually be an interesting one. I remember when he came in here and ran the Weicker car. Hey, Jeremy, what about a deep dive with Chris Eash? Like it? All names on my list, and we're going to start producing these things on a weekly basis again. I apologize. It's on me. Sometimes I get caught up in the daily minutia of what I do on the website, and it's just I'm serving different masters here, and sometimes something gets overlooked, and the deep dive's been the thing that's been getting overlooked, and I apologize for that, and hope to get back on a regular schedule starting this week. Hit the like button, 487 viewers and only 95 likes. Come on, folks. Takes 2 seconds, please. Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes yet, so we'll burn through these. What are your top 3 favorite food items at Eldora? Great food, great prices. It sounds like a Moose's LZ commercial. I don't eat a ton at the races. I like the chicken wing things. They're real small, and it's not a lot. Their French fries are good, and probably their cheeseburger. I don't really have a third. It's mostly the wings and the fries thing. Small, can eat it real quick. Just enough. Many want to shorten our half miles, most of our crown jewels, or our half miles, save the half miles. I'm okay with the half miles. I think Babs is good now. That's like 4/10. Lincoln's like 4/10. Port normally races well. They're just struggling this year. And there's times Williams Grove does too. I think it's important. Brent, nice. That's the place to go when you go to Eldora. It's in Greenville, I think. It's Tully's Gastro Pub. Excellent. But I think, the Grove, if you have 10 races, there's 5 and 5. But nobody talks about the 5 that are decent or the 5 that are okay. They talk about the 5. They're focused on the 5 that aren't good. And that's probably because other tracks sometimes, there's 5 really good ones, and then there's 3 okay, and then there might be 2 bad. So I get it. I understand it. But not every race at the Grove is bad. I think it's important to make that note. It's not all bad. They've had some decent races there this year. Look, it's just this weekend, more eyes are on it, and it was bad. Not sure why so many knocks on the Grove. Baps wasn't much better. The top two at the Grove used to be handicapped to start 12 and still win. Got to get the track right. I think they were bad for different reasons. I think Baps had a ton of rain the day before. They were fighting the rain, and then the weather, and then again, the weather didn't do what it was supposed to do on Wednesday. The racing was a lot closer at Baps, and it started to get good at the end, and then it was over. They didn't have a lot of cautions. They only had 32 cars. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, it's not me sticking up for Baps. I mean, that's what it was. I think the Grove was a little different. But yeah, you got to get the track right. I mean, that's any format, doesn't matter what format. If the track's good, it'll supersede the format. Every format's going to look good if the track's good. Doesn't matter. So I think, yes, got to get the track right. Shout out to Dale Blaney, still getting it done at Sharon. Sharon is one of the most underrated sprint car tracks. Yeah, Dale, they have that car that Dave put together, and it's interesting. It's just interesting to watch. It's not good everywhere. Doesn't work everywhere, but it sure works at Sharon. What's your favorite moment from Knoxville from either a fan perspective or storyline from a reporter's perspective? From a fan was watching Doug Wolfgang in 1990 do the alphabet soup. Tremendous. One of the best performances I've seen. So that was tremendous. From a reporter's perspective at Knoxville, Jason Johnson thing was fun to write. The Ryan Timms thing was fun to watch and write last week because you were just in awe of it. I'm with Mike Mallett from Dirt Track Digest and Neil Wilt and Brent. You know, we're all there kind of in turn 4. Now Brent roams around because he's shooting, but we're standing over there watching Timms, and we were almost speechless about it. So covering that event, you know, and it was fun I write the crown jewels in the big events. I write a commentary. I write an opinionated column about the winner from those because everybody watches the race. So I don't have to rehash the race, but I write a commentary about the winner, what it means for their career or whatever it is. That was fun. That was really fun to write. Jason Johnson, like I said, you know, Donnie's last Knoxville Nationals was fun to write because nobody expected it. Because if he would win this year, let's say hypothetically he would win this year, that would be fantastic. Nobody expects it. It's the unexpected. It's the wow factor. Anything like that, those are fun to write. Mike on line 8. Mike, how are you? Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hi, Jeremy. Good. How about you?
I'm okay.
Two things. Rumsey. Man, am I impressed? And I don't remember the race car. What's the race car?
It's Pat Brewer's 71.
Okay, and who's been in the past? And is this a big team, a little team, a medium team? Do they got a shop with 5 cars, or what's?
Oh, no. It's nothing like that. He was involved with Cody Hartlob in the 95. They split, and then he combined with Rumsey's team. No, they do not have a shop with 5 cars sitting in it, I don't think. But they make what they have work. So
it's definitely a low dollar team.
Well, low dollar. I think all their stuff
No way.
good. Yeah, I think they're a medium team. I don't think they're a low dollar team, but I don't think they're a high dollar team either.
All right, but no way they should be running up front with these guys like they are, right?
I wouldn't think they'd be running up front. I mean, he has 12 World of Outlaws starts. He has a top 5, and he has 3 top 10s. That's pretty good for a 19-year-old.
It's crazy. And I umpired him growing up in baseball.
Oh,
And
okay.
It slays me. I just see his picture and I'm like, holy crap. So what did he race, like micros and all that? And did he tear all that up?
I'm pretty sure he ran micros, but I'm not 100% sure. I think he did. I know he races.
So
he races a ton.
Yeah. I saw that. I don't buy into that personally, but I guess it gets you to know the track. But he's not some highly accomplished midget driver or something like that.
No, not that I know of.
Okay, well that's just crazy. And so again, back to the team. It's an average Central Pennsylvania kind of team, average budget.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
So you don't know if they have 1 car, 2 cars, or 5 cars.
I don't think they have 5. No. I think they have his stuff, and I think they have Pat's stuff. So I could see him having 2 or 3 rollers, a couple engines.
So
yeah.
Right. So he has a like family stuff or something like that.
Yeah, he has the 41. That was a family deal.
Okay, I don't remember him in that car. I don't remember him at all.
He won at Williams Grove earlier this year.
I knew that, but that was on the 71, right?
No, that was in the 41.
So he won earlier this year in his own car.
Yes, he also ran 6th with the World of Outlaws at Lincoln in his own car.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow, that's even more impressive. Okay.
Yep.
I think I want to buy a car and put a guy in it.
Well, there you go.
All right. Next question is, heard them talking about the guys talking about paper clips. I did not realize, I haven't been around the country very much watching sprint car race all over the world, but not with that. Is Pennsylvania paperclip type racetracks, are they?
Really, the Grove's the only one that's like that in Pennsylvania.
Williams Grove.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, you wouldn't consider box a paperclip, correct?
What track?
Baps. How about Baps and Lincoln?
No.
Neither of those are
No.
paper.
No.
Sealands Grove, kinda.
No, Sealands Grove's not a paperclip. Some people, Doug Wolfgang, when he ran that, he used to think it was more like Knoxville than any other track in here.
All right. That's all I had, but since you brought that up, I'm going to tell a story. I helped a gentleman named Jerry Kurtz years ago. This would have been in 70, I don't know, whatever Wolfgang's super duper year was. It would have been 85? Okay. Whatever his super duper year was, helping a guy named Jerry Kurtz, a local guy, up at Sealands Grove. We're sitting in the pits, and sure enough, the Wolfgang car comes right beside us. He pulls in right beside us.
Yeah.
I shit my pants. He won what, 70 something that year?
No, he won 55.
55. All right.
Yep.
That was just a really, really cool experience for me in my 20s.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, Mike. Thank you for calling.
Have a great night.
You too. I can't wait to see Jaden Wolf in the 75 car. Oh, excuse me. Good pick. Kid's going to be good. It seems to work for Rick Lefevre. When he picks up a young guy, it seems like he brings them along. Now, unfortunately for him, they go somewhere else. but that seems to work for him. Chase Dietz was there. Tyler Ross was there. Cam Smith was there. This fits the mold, and I think it's keeping him in the sport because I think he was ready to check out time, and now he's going to stick around for a year or two at least. I'm surprised there hasn't been a lot of Sealands Grove questions. I'm stunned by this. Jeremy, why didn't tracks do track prep before the B main to get it in run? Get in. Oof. Jeremy, why don't tracks do track prep before the B main to run in so we don't have to wait for half the A main to run before it gets racy? I can't answer that because I wonder the same thing sometimes. I think it depends on the night. I just think I don't know. I just think that they do it when they can, how it fits into the night, is there weather coming? I think there's variables that determine when they do it. I've seen people do it before the Last Chance Showdown, B main, whatever you want to call it, and they run the B main to blow it off. And then they might spritz it after that. So I don't know. I don't know why sometimes they wait as long as they do. But they do. In your opinion, what should I watch this weekend, the 360s or the Outlaws? Ooh. Both. I don't. That's a tough one because I think Peevely, and the way Peevely goes, you might be able to catch the feature of Peevely after the 360s is over. That's at least what I'm hoping to do. So I think you should be able to watch both the way it kind of lines up. But I would watch, I'd probably watch the Outlaws. Wolfgang run through the alphabet. Wasn't it just the CBA? It might have been, I know in the 29, he had a year at Knoxville in the 29 where he did it, but I don't remember it as much. I still think the run, it might have been the DBA. It might have been the D. So, but he had one in the 29 as well, I think. But I was so young, I just don't remember it as much. But it might have been the D. I'm not 100. Still impressive. We don't see that at all now. So it was one of the things. I wish I would have been writing about it, but I was 18 at the time. Is one of the present group at Sealands Grove staying on for the next 3 years? I heard they might be. Now, that whole thing is, it's been online. It's been on Facebook. Nobody's really lying. It was just a case of the group. Look, I understand what the Fair Board was doing. When this group came in, they wanted 1 year because they didn't know what they had. They didn't want to have any of the problems. They were cautiously optimistic. Now, after a year and a half, there's been no problems. So now they want a 3-year deal. It's simple. It's simple. Now, you could say they didn't do it the right way. That's business. A lot of things happen in business that aren't the right way. Lauda, yes. An alphabet has 26 letters, but they call it the alphabet soup is what they call it. It's kind of like motors and engines. It's what people call it. And for quick reference, that's what I called it. Always thought Penn National raced like Knoxville. Yeah, flatter. I thought Penn National was flatter than Knoxville. But yeah, Lance DeWeese used to get around there. He used to really do well at Penn National. Do you think the Tri-City versus Lernerville Friday nights will remain in 2027, or do you think the tracks will work together? You have a laughing emoji there, and I think that's appropriate. They shouldn't. It doesn't. I don't know their finances. I don't see how many people are in the stands, but the car count's not good. I don't know why you'd continue it. It seems futile to me. I don't know why you would do it, but they're going to do it probably if their stands work. I don't know what the fan count's been at either track, but they've done it 2 years now. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to back off. Would a dish wing help anything with passing in races? I had a conversation this week about that, and I think it would, judging by what my research on it and so I think it's something that would help. A lot of drivers feel it would, but I don't see them going back to it. Rumor has it Williams Grove bringing in Steinley to help the track. Did you hear anything? No, I didn't. In fact, I heard 2 other names were there on Saturday. Any word on what Jim Shuttlesworth plans for the rest of the year? He's going to be with Emerson Axum this weekend and through the Nationals and then reevaluate. Jeremy, are you planning on covering the work area at Knoxville? Your behind-the-scenes video at Eldoro's Prime. I doubt I'm going to run over and do that. Who knows? Who knows? If I'm bored, maybe I'll go over there at the halfway point or something. I don't know. Take a walk down through. Why would we expect more passing when the cars are more equal and we start the fastest up front? I tend to agree with that. Do I think they could do some things? Yeah, you got to change tires. I think dish wings would help. It supposedly everybody I talk to, it helps with dirty air. Sanctioned shows are going to be what they are. I think weekly shows, more handicap shows would be more appropriate. I think people are getting sick of time trial shows for local events. I didn't used to think that. This is just something that's changed in my opinion. And I should say it's a variable and I've changed my opinion on it. So I think local races should have more handicap shows. It's what made Pennsylvania a great sprint car area. As for the national events, they're going to be with it. There's not enough of a gap, so you're going to start them heads up. How about Brock Hammaker getting his first win at BAPS? I did see that. Yes. Never got to see a 1 mile track woo sprint car race. What were those like? Saw it at Syracuse. I wouldn't have driven around there. You hit the wall there, you could disintegrate. You don't see it often. I think they ran out in Indiana on the mile. And at one time, they didn't do it a lot. It's just too fast, wide open. They put panels on the cars. It cost more. But they did Syracuse. That was popular for a while, and then it went away. Ran its course. It was okay. Hard to pass. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the questions. I appreciate everybody joining the chat. Loudest said something about YouTube, get rid of commercials. Yeah, I have nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do it. Yes, Nazareth as well as the miles, so I apologize for any commercials. Again, thank you to everybody who joined the chat, who called in. Appreciate it. And we'll be back next Tuesday. Stay tuned.